Bringing such spaces as the Atacama Desert close to our perception was very important for this exhibition because we wanted to show that the cloud is not immaterial, but the cloud is very much consisting of earthly elements. When I started thinking about this exhibition, one of the first images I saw were these images behind me by the photographer and artist Catherine Hyland. Here in the exhibition we are showing one series of her work in the Atacama Desert where most of the lithium production takes place. When we talk about the digital cloud, we speak about a metaphor, namely that the cloud is ubiquitous, it's everywhere, it's immaterial, it's ethereal. And so to depict the price we need to pay for a hyper-connected world, we need to look really in the Earth's crust, like deep within the places where such extraction of these critical materials like lithium take place. In order for the cloud to exist, we need to extract and uncover huge parts and swaths of our land and territory and transform them into a productive landscape. This kind of transformation of the land on one hand and the metaphor of the ethereal cloud is something that we can really read well within this photographic research that Hyland proposes here. We see a sequence of about 20 images that show one kind of travel through the landscapes of lithium extraction. At first we see the empty road, the deserted landscape and the approach towards the salt flats. Then we go really through this landscape of extraction where we see these evaporation pools where large quantities of water are pumped from beneath the soil to the surface. The water quickly dries out and these different uncanny colors in the fields are actually the different concentrations of lithium that remain as the evaporation process progresses, which is then ready to be scraped to the side, packed and then shipped throughout the planet. And then we see also the deserted living areas of communities that have been over centuries living around the Atacama Desert. And then we see again a dried up river at the end that is also the price that these communities pay for the extraction of this lithium. Usually the Atacama Desert is photographed with drones or with airplane imagery always from above. So this kind of the scale of extraction is always what we are interested in. In contrast to that, the photographs of Catherine Hyland show a very much humanistic or human approach. So the nuanced eye-level view is really what I think it's quite special about these images in contrast to all other images we see from these areas. Lithium is one of the critical raw materials that are needed for the building of our digital infrastructure that run the cloud, basically. This material is on one hand needed for this endless expansion of our digital technologies, but on the other hand, it's a finite material. One side of this is to say, well, our planet is finite and our resources are finite, so why can't we think in finite terms where we talk about our data? So we cannot accumulate data endlessly. At some point, our cloud will be full of data. And then what is the next step? Should we start deleting everything? Should we start building down our resources? Or should we say, now is the time to acknowledge that all of this infrastructure has a limit and that we need to work within these limits, but we also need to set the limits ourselves, that they work for everyone and not just for a few corporations, for example. So I think with this exhibition, we want to kind of test the edges and the limits of this digital infrastructure and somehow to learn how we can contribute in becoming more aware about our digital footprints and digital futures.